7441. Hospice of Marion County, making more moments of life possible.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
All right, 24 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this morning. I'd like to start this next interview with an introduction to our next guest by telling you something that sounds like bragging. I'm going to brag about some members of my own family. I'm not going to name them, but I'll tell you this, that some of the young ladies in my family who, I guess all the ones I'm thinking about are nieces, and I hope nobody's going to be, hope I'm not leaving anybody out. But these are smart young women. Mm-hmm. And they are married to my nephews, of course, and they have children, and they have chosen to stay home. Mm-hmm. And could have, because they're so smart, could have done anything with their lives, anything. They could have gone on to become, corporate executives or whatever in any field that they chose. They have chosen to stay home and be moms. Only time will tell what will happen, when the children are a little bit older. But it's just an amazing social thing, I think, that we go through. I know that a lot of guys do this too, and there's maybe a little different stigma when a guy stays home to raise the kids. We've got a couple of publicists that help us with guests. Yeah. They will call us to tell us about different guests that they represent. And there's two men that I know of, and we've worked with them for years. So a couple of years ago, one of the men we worked with left the agency he was with and started doing publicity on his own at his home. And then all of a sudden you hear a little baby in the background, and he's almost apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, and we always, hey, is that a baby? Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. And then no, I think that's great. What you working from home? Yeah, I know. It's
wonderful.
And so they were almost apologetic, right? And so it is an interesting thing. Our next guest has touched on this subject in a well done job in her book. She talks about this very subject. The Roads Taken is the name of her book. Deborah A. Kahn is on the phone to talk about that with us. Complex lives of employed and at-home mothers. So while I touched on the at-home, let's talk about the employed and the at-home. Robin, when you were a younger woman, you were an employed mom, but you always were there when the children needed you. So
I was always there. No matter what.
So
first and foremost, after my job, there I was.
A good parent is a good parent is
That's
a good
right.
parent. Dr. Deborah A. Kahn is the Assistant Director of the National Coalition for Jail Reform. She's the former Deputy Director of a Virginia Probation and Parole Office. She's a contributor to the Huffington Post, an adjunct professor for a community college, doesn't say which one, and a junior high school teacher of mathematics. So she has seen a lot in her lifetime and has written this book, The Roads Taken. Good morning, Dr. Kahn.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Larry.
Oh, you're welcome. Where are you right now? Where are you calling from?
McLean, Virginia.
All right. Well, thank you for being up to talk to us about this. Were you an at-home mom, or are you an at-home mom? I don't want to assume anything about you yet.
Well, my children have flown the nest.
Okay.
But I was an at-home mom until I had finished my dissertation, took a year off to relax, of course, and then I taught part-time as an adjunct professor.
You mean after the children grew up?
No, when they were in high school.
Oh, okay. So old enough for you to. So you're the perfect example. I mean, you sound exactly like my nieces. You were smart enough to do anything, but you chose to stay home to be a mom.
Yes, I did. I was working for many years, and then I had my first child, and I became an at-home mother, and I loved it. But then at a social situation, when I was with my husband, sometimes in a conversation with people, when they found out that I was an at-home mom, they literally turned their backs on me.
Oh,
and so
man.
I felt terrible, and I didn't understand why. So that began my research on employed and at-home moms.
Now, can you give us an idea of how long ago that was? Was that 10 years ago?
Well, Oh no, that was what is that? 1994 was when I did my research on my dissertation, and then 14 years later, with the same group of mothers, I went back to them and asked them, well, how has it been? Because if they had a 4-year-old, the child was now 18. So I asked them all kinds of questions.
Oh, okay. And the social stigma part of it, I mean, just real quickly to go to the man's side of this, a man who decides to be an at-home dad, everybody said that's a wonderful thing. But the truth is, they turn their heads at him.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Yeah.
Blogs that I have read, yes.
Yeah.
And it's a new phenomenon. Society's trying to figure it out, but we sure aren't there yet.
So I want to see if I can connect your work with jail reform to this. I mean, do you see a connection between people who become no connection? Okay.
That was a long time ago. I'm not connected with that at all.
Okay. Well, I you know what I thought, just to share with you where I was going with that. I thought, well, maybe the children of the moms who stayed home were less likely to go to jail than you know what I mean? I didn't know if there was something like that in there.
Well, we all know that children ending up in jail frequently come from broken homes. That's all.
Yeah.
But no.
So the book covers the information that you got in your studies with the ladies, and then the 14-year after re-interview.
Yes, I had 123 mothers from my original 200 who agreed to answer all my questions about life.
Wow, how'd you stay in touch with all of them?
Well, when I did my dissertation, I wrote it on the computer, but we didn't really have email. So when I wanted to do a follow-up, I sent out postcards to all of them. And I found them, and they responded, and then that became my email list.
Oh, wow.
And that really gave them an outlet for themselves as to what they're doing also, because it had to make them feel good to be able to contribute to a study such as this.
It made them feel good to contribute to a study. Yes, I think they're fabulous women, and they also, several of them mentioned, thank you for all these questions. It made me think and realize about this or that or the other thing. So that was good, too.
Wow, we have to take a little break, and I'm so looking forward to hearing what the conclusions are from the study. And I'm also wondering if a young woman who is about to be a mom will be able to approach the whole subject differently than somebody prior to, will the book provide some tools to make it a little bit easier for her? Maybe that's what I want to say.
That's what I hope. Very definitely.
So let's do that break. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I can answer that more fully after the break.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Dr. Deborah Kahn again is on the phone with us, and her book is called The Roads Taken, Complex Lives of Employed and At-Home Mothers. We will be back after we take a little break, and that'll be just about 3 minutes from now. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sun mixed with clouds today. A couple of drenching thunderstorms around during the afternoon hours. The high 89 to 93. A thunderstorm in spots this evening, then partly cloudy overnight, low 72 to 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a couple of afternoon and evening thunderstorms, high 88 to 92. For Saturday, partly sunny with a couple of thunderstorms likely in the afternoon, the high 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Listen up. On Monday, July 28th at 11 a.m., our guest on AM Ocala Live will be Edna Turner DiGenesti, owner of Unique Lingerie at Market Street at Heathbrook. This charming lady has been with us before.
And it's always fun and informative. You'll learn about what else? Unique Lingerie, proper fit, special gifts. Who knows? Edna may spill some news about a new line she has developed. Tune in at 11 a.m. on Monday and call in to 622-9622 with your questions, or call Edna at 629-5590.
Now is the time to take advantage of Florida Credit Union's CD specials. Our 36-month CD comes in at 1.26% APY. A 24-month is working for you at 1.0% APY. And our 12-month at 0.75% APY. All CD rate specials require $10,000 minimum. With friendly service and rates like these, it's not hard to see why Florida Credit Union has your CD options covered. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Call 352-237-8222 for more information. Must act by 1/15/14.
Hey, I'm Gary.
And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sun mixed with clouds today. A couple of drenching thunderstorms around during the afternoon hours. The high 89 to 93. A thunderstorm in spots this evening, then partly cloudy overnight, those 72 to 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a couple of afternoon and evening thunderstorms, high 88 to 92. For Saturday, partly sunny with a couple of thunderstorms likely in the afternoon, the high 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
All right, thank you, Joe. Dr. Deborah Kahn is our guest. Her book, again, is called The Roads Taken, Complex Lives of Employed and At-Home Mothers. Doctor, thank you for waiting with us through the break. Now let's get to the heart of the book itself. Were there any was there anything that you discovered after speaking to the 120 mothers 14 years after you did your first paper that was surprising to you? Doctor?
Oh, she's calling again.
Okay, Doctor, did we lose you?
We did because my phone ran out of battery.
Oh, okay. Well, we're back on the air now.
Sorry.
That's okay. We're back on the air now. So I just want to because I thought you were hearing my question. In the re-interview with the 120 mothers 14 years later, was there anything that you learned from them that was a surprise?
What amused me was this one finding where both of the mother groups thought that because of their work status, their children were independent. The employed mothers thought they were independent because they were not around all the time and their children learned to fend for themselves. The at-home mothers said that they were independent because they were around, the children felt confident, and they could walk away. I thought that was really interesting.
So in both cases?
Yes, and so what does that really tell us? That tells us, to me, it tells us two things. One, we rationalize our decisions, which is nothing wrong with that. And two, we all want our children to be independent.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Did you find that the children of the working mothers were able to make better decisions when they were growing up enough to be on their own than the ones that were with the stay-at-home moms?
Robin, that's the next book, and it's not going to be mine.
Oh, okay.
I never asked the children about the children, and I never asked the husbands, and clearly both groups are incredibly important. I just asked the mothers.
Okay.
And did some of the at-home mothers homeschool their children?
I think two of them did.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And probably the same results. They feel like the children are more independent because of that, right?
I could have to go back and research those mothers who were homeschooled and see what they had to say. So I couldn't really answer that.
We've had discussions about homeschooling in general because some people are not that happy with it. But we've seen examples of children who've excelled. Mm-hmm. And we've seen children who've excelled in public school and in private school. And again, I think there are examples of successes and failures in everything in life, I guess you could argue. So what other kinds of questions did you ask the ladies? And was regret among any of the discussions? Did anybody regret the choice that they made?
No, I would say that some people said that they wished that they had been able to find a part-time position that enabled them to spend more time with their children, or they wish that they had kept up with their profession so that it would have been easier to get back into the workplace. But nobody said, I wish I hadn't done this.
Really? Is there a way to know, maybe from what you looked at, if today's world would be different than the world that the women were in 14 years earlier? Simply because, I mean, like I said, a lot of the people that we speak to now work at home. They have computers and they do their job at home.
Of course, the world will change, but will we always have challenges and stresses in a family? The nature of them might change, but we'll still have them.
On a personal note, was your mom a stay-at-home mom?
My mother was at home, sort of. She always had a foot out the door.
Oh, okay.
And then when I was in second grade, I was the youngest of three. She went back to work and back to school and became a teacher. She was not happy being an at-home mom. And interestingly, when she went back to work, one of the things that she got, people thought that she needed the money, and that she resented that.
Oh my gosh. So this was her choice then. She wasn't forced to work because of the money.
Right.
Oh, that's a horrible, horrible label to put on somebody.
Did all the women live in a similar type of a location as far as the pay grade that was available to them?
In my study?
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
No, but because of my original criteria, the mothers were pretty privileged. That changed over life as some of them became divorced or became widows or things like that, or job changes.
Okay, and when you were talking to the women, were any of the ones who were working, were they working as in fields where the kids could be with them? I guess is like maybe in some cases, like some women choose to be teachers, and the children are in the school, so they're sort of with the kids all day long.
Those were more frequently mothers who had stayed at home and then went back to employment and were in the classroom. The mothers who were employed full-time were very often doctors, not doctors so much, lawyers and government people and consultants, people like that.
I hope the study that you did, since you put it into a book, will really enforce the camaraderie between stay-at-home moms and then moms that are out there in the workforce, because at any time there's a school project, anything to do with their children in school, they have to get together and work together, so they can't have that animosity towards each other.
I totally agree. It is a waste of energy.
What do you mean?
Would be to be putting the other one down or feeling that the other group is putting you down.
Oh, right.
That's not worthwhile. And I will say that I did ask the mothers in my study about their perception of the other group when they were young, and then again now. And now they generally appreciated and recognized that people are just different, and they make different choices.
And in movies and TV, typically they show the at-home mom as being harried, like she's pulling her hair out. She's got to drive the kid to the baseball game. She's got to drive to the school. She's got to iron. She's always harried. It makes it look like a very, very unhappy life decision. Mm-hmm. And I've often thought, well, that's not fair. That's not what I've witnessed in the homes I've been to.
Mothers employed are harried too. Yeah, it's difficult, but what you have mentioned are the tasks, just managing that. And you can, if you can hire somebody, or you can have a teenager come in and do. What really is the draining aspect of parenting is the emotional and psychological development of your children, and that weighs on both.
And did each group of women find time for themselves, like to have a night out with the girls, something like that?
More difficult for the employed mothers.
Oh, I see.
More difficult.
Gosh.
Yeah, more difficult, yeah. Because they had fewer times for friends, for family. because their weekends were devoted to taking care of things within the family and within the home. And otherwise, they were busy with their own family and their employment.
And what about the ladies who supplemented their income with the Tupperware party or that kind of thing?
I can't answer that.
You don't know that one? Okay. Well, it seems like it was common in my neighborhood when I was a kid. I don't know if it's still common, but I seem to remember that. And, of course, I wasn't. I was a kid like a long time ago, so maybe the whole world changed since then.
I would say that the at-home mother was being very resourceful in taking care of a need that she had to feel good as an adult.
I think that your phrase "having it all" really applies to both groups, because in the end, that's what in their heart that they feel they want to do. They feel that's their purpose. One wants to work and the other one wants to stay at home with the children, but both groups seem to find the time to put the children first in everything.
They do the best they can, absolutely. And it's up to them to decide they have it all, not society and not someone else.
And not their husbands.
Not their husbands. They need support from their husbands, and they need to work together as parents.
And was that part of the question? I mean, were the men in their lives, the husbands, I presume, mostly supportive of the decision, whether it was to stay at home or to go to work?
Well, 80% of my mothers said, yes, he is supportive. Then when I looked at the comments, a third of them said he was very supportive of my income and taking care of the children and the house and things like that. I mean, it was very funny.
Poor guy.
But everybody's different. Every marriage is different.
Yeah.
And you make it work for yourself, and so that you feel good.
So how long has the book been out?
It came out in May.
So you've had a few months for some feedback. Have you had feedback from some of the ladies who've read it, and maybe some of the men?
Absolutely. I've gotten extremely positive feedback that people who have been through it said, I wish this book had been available, or I wouldn't have felt so bad about this or that decision. Some men who read it said, wow, I had no idea. This is so interesting. Or somebody who had been very involved with his kids said it brought back memories. I could hear the voices that I thought, yes, I had that thought. And also young mothers, and one woman wrote a review, and her mother had died, and she didn't have her mother to ask these questions. And she said, but the voices of the mothers in the book helped me a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's a home run to me. I actually have a copy of your book, Deborah. So, Dr. Kahn. Let me
No, Deborah's fine.
Deborah's fine. Okay, I appreciate that. Let me give away the copy. If you would like the copy that Deborah sent to us, I will give it to you. I only have one, so the rest of us have to go buy it, and that means I need two things. I need to give the listeners the phone number, 622-WOCA, if you want the copy I have of The Roads Taken. The rest of us have to buy it. Dr. Kahn or Deborah, can you tell me your website so that we can get the book?
TheRoadsTaken.net.
.net. Okay.
Website.
Remember, it's a .net. TheRoadsTaken.net.
Yep.
And is it on Amazon and all the others?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, good job. Did you enjoy the writing process?
I hate writing.
Research was your favorite.
All right. Well, I've enjoyed the conversation greatly. And just to kind of reiterate what I really believe a good parent is a good parent is a good parent.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Dr. Deborah A. Kahn, thank you for being on with us today.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed the conversation tremendously.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. There's now confirmation of the fate of the plane which disappeared from radar over northwestern Africa. According to the French Ministry of Defense, 2 French fighter jets have